hope you didn't have to give a donation for that.
Get him a step stool.
Many of you have been asking me why I'm retiring. And the answer is quite simply, I want to spend more time with my teenage sons. Just like Paul Ryan. Recently, I have followed in the footsteps of Don Arnold, and I've joined the ranks of the Professors Emeriti. And just like Don, I am a Professor Emeritus at both Union and Clarkson, which I hope means, Don, I can get some free hockey tickets, but I don't know about that. But the only difference is Don achieved his status without ever having stepped foot on the Clarkson campus. I am proud to say that I've been to Potsdam not once, but twice. And my affections, my memories, my loyalties are not to institutions, but they are to the people. My colleagues, both on the faculty and staff, to my students who have made the past 35 years so rewarding and so enjoyable. It's also to my family and friends, many of whom are in the room today. So I have a long list of thank yous to the people who have been central in my academic career and have been central to my life. So usually when at the Academy Awards, the Oscar winner gets about 2 minutes to make a speech and it gets yanked off the stage. I can take as long as I want because it's my party. So here it goes. First of all, I want to thank Joseph Schmey, who hired me 35 years ago. Bravo, Joseph, bravo. And I suppose I have to thank Gene Schneller, who started the Health MBA program in the first place. And then I have to thank Gene for leaving Union and going to Arizona State, which opened up a tenure slot for me. And then to my tenure committee, Jim Lambrinos, Cliff Brown, who couldn't be here today, Les Hall, Linda Patrick. Anytime you guys want your leaves raked or your snow shoveled, I'll call on me, I'll send over my teenage sons. Thanks to Bob Baker, my closest collaborator on so many projects, conferences, articles, C-SPAN shows. Bob, you may not remember all the hard work we did on that DNR conference book back in 1990. That book was a monster book. It was about 500 pages long. It sold for $190, and we sold about 7 copies. To which I say, never have so few done so much and gotten so little. And Bob, do you remember that article we wrote in about 45 minutes riding up on the subway to Washington Heights? It turned out to be our most quoted and our most cited article of all time, to which I say, never have so few done so little and gotten so much. And the list goes on and on, so thank you, Bob Baker. May you continue to be the grand old man of bioethics, and more importantly, may you continue to be the grand old man, period. This past May was my 50th reunion, and I want to acknowledge Jim Underwood, who you heard from. 1965, I first had Professor Underwood as a professor. I find it amazing that in 2018, I still go out to breakfast with Jim, and I want to know how many 71-year-old guys could go out to breakfast with their professor, who also taught their son, Nathaniel, as an undergraduate. So Jim, I'm going to see you at the Blue Ribbon Diner next week. This time you pay. To the faculty and staff of GMI, UGC, and Clarkson, I've taught at other colleges, and I know a multitude of other professors at other institutions. And in comparison to most places, that I know about. I appreciate our place as a place of civility, collegiality, good humor, not to mention good parking. Professors at other universities should be so lucky. So thank you to my wonderful colleagues, faculty, staff, for making such a wonderful environment over these many years. To my bosses over the years, Carolyn Miklas, Diane Nebellini, Janice Hollister, Ann Welty, Rhonda Sheehan, Marcia Calderon. What can I say? I'm sorry. To Bob Keenan. Bob, never leave me, Bob. To my students, I have the grade books, the grade sheets, and every student I've taught for the past 40 years. So I know who you are. To my students who are here today, Joanne Fitzgerald, Ann Oswald, Jim Hofsinger, Dr. Ann Carroll, Diane Evellini, you are my best students. And speaking of best students, I had the honor of teaching all three of Don Arnold and Betty Arnold's kids. Kelly, Donnie, and Aaron. Kelly and Donnie are here today. It seems that it was not too long ago that we were here honoring Don on his retirement, in this very same room. So thank you for the Arnold family for being here today. Going on. I want to thank Kristen Hissam for coming up all the way from Montgomery, Alabama. Kristen was never one of my students at Clarkson or Union. However, she was a member of the Union College women's hockey team. And my wife and I befriended some of the women on the hockey team years ago. And over the years, we have cheered on Kristen as she graduated in Union. And then she did great things, including getting a PhD from King's College in London. And now she is a professor at the United States Air Force War College in Montgomery, Alabama. And many of her students are colonels and generals. And I can only imagine that some of these Air Force colonels and generals will go on to be our only buffer between our Commander-in-Chief's finger on the button and nuclear war. So, Kristen, we're counting on you to keep the door from going. No pressure. Coming up from Washington, D.C. is my college roommate, Ken Auerbach. Ken was not only my college roommate, but he was also the chair of my PhD dissertation committee at Syracuse University. So the message here is that all fraternity brother friendships do come in handy. I want to thank my family. First of all, to my dear wife, Sharon. 25 years ago, she completely cleaned up and completely rearranged the papers and books in my office without my knowledge. And who knows in what ways this one event forever changed the course of my academic career. So thank you to my dear wife for this disruptive innovation, and also for 41 years of marriage. I want to thank my two sons. My two sons, Nathaniel and Josh. Nathaniel is here today, and as you can see, he really is a teenager. I want to thank my daughters-in-law, Shira and Andrea, and my 6 grandchildren, Aiden, Caleb, Rafi, Maayan, Yona, and Hannah. Some of you have asked what I'm going to be doing after my retirement, and I have 6 projects. Keep me quite busy for the duration. I want to thank my brother and sister-in-law, Jim and Margot. And coming up from Nashville, Tennessee is my nephew, Rabbi Saul Strosberg, who is also the rabbi to all the many Jewish country western stars and the and his wife, Daniela. I want to thank my godson, Hershey, who drove up from Charlottesville, Virginia. Hershey was my esteemed colleague. Many of you don't know, he's my esteemed colleague at Union College. He was the coach of the women's soccer team. So thank you, Hershey. I want to thank Lori Ruth for the beautiful cake. And finally, to John Humpert and Rhonda Sheehan for organizing this splendid event. And I consider my greatest contribution to Union hiring Rhonda Sheehan, John Humpert, and Sue Lehrman. I consider this the trifecta. And I'd like to close drawing on the wisdom of two legendary baseball players. First, Chico Escuela, AKA Garrett Morris, who was the all-star player for the Chicago Cubs from the Dominican Republic. And in 1978, he said, "Baseball been very, very, very good to me." And then in July 4th, 1939, at Yankee Stadium, Lou Gehrig said, "Today I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth." Ladies and gentlemen, these are my sentiments exactly. Thank you very much. Happy Day.